Chris Evans Radio. We are back with little Dave. It's another Monday, and him and I were just talking about all the stupid bullshit that people do in a contest prep when they get hungry. So, uh, why don't you tell people like we were talking about those sugar-free syrups that you add in your coffee?
Uh-huh. Yeah. You throw enough in there, you're just fucking your diet up.
Right. And I
And
mean,
then
yeah.
you can go crazy with those things and without before you know it, you have 200 extra calories, which
Yep.
is, a good amount of rice if you put rice in there
Right.
instead of sugar-free syrup.
That's exactly what I said to you. I was like, when you're calorie deprived so much where you need all that bullshit in your drink, 200 calories of rice goes a long way. Like, add that to your pre-lift meal and tell me how much better your performance is. And I think a lot of people just don't factor that in. Or, like I said to you, like, God forbid you actually have some dietary fat in there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I know that's really frustrating because the internet is loaded with what people call diet hacks or prep hacks. And man, I know this is going to sound really old school and probably dinosaurish, but like you're in a contest prep. I need you guys to remember that. Like you should enjoy this, but you shouldn't be living a life of decadence.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be hard. You are supposed to feel deprived. Um, Now, if
Yep.
you're
That's how
planning,
you know it's working,
yeah, right, yes, yeah, and
you
I,
know?
I think a lot of times, I think maybe you and I talked about this last time. Like, people are so fast to want to just find a dopamine hit where it's like, hey, just like go have some water and chill the fuck out. Like, and I know I've always preached this to you is like, man, if we suffer Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's going to set you up for me to pound you full of good, clean food on Thursday. And I mean, you know me, I'm heavy-handed with it. I give you a lot of energy, nutrients, and fat to train hard. And then we repeat that process, and your training performance never goes down. Well, if you're constantly eating fucking Walden Farms peanut butter and chewing sticks of gum and doing 3 drinks from Starbucks that, by the way, say 0 calorie, but they're really probably more like 100. The space in between lower days and high days have to become more sparse because you aren't getting lean fast enough. Like,
Yeah.
I know
Yeah,
you
because
can
all
say
the I think well, that's like the fun thing is there's really no such thing as a calorie free food,
that. Yes, right.
And I think that goes over a lot of people's heads because like we have so many options out there what are either misleading on the label, like they have the that weird Franken fat they just made, what just got patented, what is they're throwing in all the protein bars now because it's a low fat tasting thing. So it's basically they basically made butter but with 3 calories instead of 9 per gram.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
And the they market it differently. Or like, you got like the powdered peanut butter.
Yes.
And like that's great and all. Yes, it's lower calorie, but I've seen people use that like it's not even like it doesn't even fucking matter. Like I've seen people like, oh, I got my egg white pancakes I made, which would be phenomenal, and then they put like a cup of the peanut butter powder on it. You're like, you are aware that's like 130 calories.
Right.
Like that, you could have had 40 grams of oats,
Yes.
and they're like, I just don't know why, getting lean is so rough. It's like, well, that's because you're adding so much shit to your diet.
Right. Right. I mean, I know this sounds crazy because on my meal plans, I always write vegetables as 0. I've seen guys do 200 to 400 grams of vegetables in a meal and they wonder why they're not lean. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, like not only is that wreaking havoc on your digestive tract, but I don't care who you are, even if it's broccoli, that's calories in that, homie. Like,
Yeah.
I need you to show some restraint. Like, measure 50 grams of vegetables and call it a day. Like,
Yeah. I had a buddy I gave shit to because he would do that. He'd be like, "Oh man, a coach has me on no carbs today," and each meal he'd take the entire those like I want to say they're 12-ounce bags
okay,
of asparagus, the
right?
microwavable ones, and he would have his chicken and then the entire fucking frozen bag of asparagus,
Jesus
which is like
Christ.
12 ounces, right? It's like
Right,
that's
okay,
almost a pound of asparagus. So it's like you're still eating, 30 grams of carbs with each meal, bro.
right. Yeah. Can you imagine how bad his piss smelled?
Oh, he's probably shitting out strands of asparagus.
Listen, and you know me because I'm not a big vegetable guy. I know neither are you. Like that stuff has to go somewhere.
Yeah,
Like, and here's how I always thought about it. Cows eat grass. I know that we're different in terms of how our stomach is built, but there's something to that that forces a cow to grow, right? So it has to have something in the grass. So it's no different than if you eat broccoli, asparagus, zucchini, cucumber, lettuce. To me, it's like I need you just to eat your meat and a little bit of vegetables on those days and move the fuck on. Like
yeah,
I actually, what's really funny is I don't actually enjoy or think vegetables are needed, especially if you drink a greens drink and take vitamins.
yeah,
But I actually enjoy it when I have just meat because it helps the meat go down easier because it gives some moisture to it.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I mean, if we're going down that diet rabbit hole, man, like I even think there needs to be a limit on diet sodas. Like you can't just drink a 2 liter throughout the course of your day and think that that's nothing in it. And it's doing nothing to your blood sugar. Like the only thing that you can put in your body that doesn't fuck your blood sugar is water. Or I guess not fuck it, but manipulate it.
yeah, yeah. That's a fun. I mean, like, we're obviously talking about the extremes here. Like,
Yes, yes.
I drink a diet soda every fucking day.
Right. Yeah.
I laugh about it all the time too, because like, I manage a supplement store, and we have a lot of like it's Good Earth markets. We have a lot of hippies who are like, aspartame will kill you.
Oh, right.
You
Yep.
know, I've had people tell me what like, oh, you aspartame's making you fat, while I'm like actively like a week out. You know, I'm like, I'm sure it is. You know, I'll enjoy my diet root beer, and you enjoy being at 40% body fat. But like, you know, the concept, like, it's when the wild things happen. Like, I've seen people eat entire packs of gum every day at prep.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like 12 sticks a day. You know, like that's, you know, every hour for the 6 hours they're at.
Yeah.
Probably not a good idea.
No. No. I mean, if you think about it, like I have no going back to the diet soda thing, like I have no problem with you having 12 to 40 ounces in a day. I just don't. But I think when you begin to me, here's what I'll think about it, right? The time in between meals, I need to have nothing of calorie density, right? Nothing.
Yeah,
I'll be smashing my water. Then, like when I have a meal, by all means, go at it. Like, have you a diet soda with a meal? Make it be enjoyable. I for years used it like a dessert. I'd eat my meal and then have my diet soda and relax and chill until it's time to get back to work. And that's helped me mentally. It also tastes good. And then to me, it's like, okay, cool. Well, I'm already driving my blood sugar up. Nothing's gonna fuck with it. It's technically 0 calories, but it's probably got a few in there. That's negligible. Where I've seen guys and girls, and I've trained them when I was at the gym. A girl used to like literally just pour out of a Diet Mountain Dew 2 liter and drink it all day as if it was water. And I'm like, that doesn't work that way. Stop it. And then next what? Cut it down into just at a meal, and her body fat begin to trend down again. So just things I think for everyone to think about. Like I know that for feeling hungry can be a new sensation to first time competitors. And I think people who've been in long off seasons who transition in back into contest prep, you almost kind of forget what hunger feels like. And you're like, well, this is nice. And then it turns into, okay, this is a nuisance. And then it turns into, I'm just angry.
yeah,
You know, or like you just walk around like, and I know you and I have both been there, like you walk around and you're like, man, I'm just craving more diet food to feel remotely full. And listen, as you and I have both said, that will come in time because soon enough you're gonna
yeah,
be eating so much food again, and you're like, fuck, I just want to feel hungry again.
yeah.
So
You know,
it's
and that's like one of those. I mean, the hunger is that's like we go over this like every time, and it's just like it is a signal, surefire signal that things are working. You know,
yes.
like, and trying to avoid that pain, like you're getting rid of your pleasure. You know, like having those days of the low days makes your high days so much better.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
like if you've ever done a competition, you know that like after you're done with the show, you go out and eat something.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
fucking awesome,
Right. Yes. Yep.
you know. But you could take that same meal and eat it during your prep.
Mhm.
$10, you're gonna feel bad about yourself. It's
Yes.
not gonna taste amazing. You're gonna be pissed off about it.
Yep. And it's always going to be in that in your head. Always. That shit's going to be living up there. Like it, I think what I've always appreciated the most about bodybuilding is the delayed gratification component of this. It's like, what you do today isn't seen today. It's like, you know, where we've grown your body is a culmination of years of work, not just 1 week or 1 month or one good off season. And I've always viewed it like that with a contest prep when you're getting hungry. It's like, okay, cool. Like each passing day that I go by and then I'm hungry, I am getting closer to where I want to be. And
Yeah,
the sooner I'm there, the more I can add food back in, the more I can reduce my cardio, my output, the more I can begin to take my foot off the gas pedal outside of the gym. And I think a lot of times people just lose sight of that because it feels like it hurts so bad in the moment. When a lot of
mm-hmm.
times if you just take a deep breath and distract your brain, as we talked about last time, man, it'll be 2 hours. It'll be here to eat again. You'll enjoy that meal. You'll move on. You won't feel satisfied because you'll still be hungry. And then you go to sleep and you wake up the next day and you start your morning routine.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of crazy too. I mean, like the sometimes I kind of laugh about it with like how bodybuilding's like it's a white collar sport dominated by blue collar dudes.
Yeah.
And the fun thing is like I've met a lot of people who, their first experience with dealing with hunger is in a contest prep. They're 25 years old. They've never actually had hunger like that before because they've always had food.
Right.
And
Yes.
it's a new experience. Like they don't know what it is to go without. Like they've never actually been there, you
Yes.
know? Because in reality, like we live in such a nice world where that's not a thing.
Yeah. Agreed.
I mean, like, Samson's talked about that too, where he's like, this is nothing because like he Olympia level bodybuilder, but growing up, he was going hungry all the time.
Right.
And hunger by choice versus hunger without choice are two different fucking ends of the spectrum. Like you think your hunger in a prep, but you're choosing to do is bad. Imagine not having food because you can't have it.
Right. Yeah.
Like we all live in a contest prep. Like I could walk over to the grocery store right now and buy a cheesecake.
Yeah.
I could solve my problem right now.
Mhm. Yep.
Like
Yeah.
and that's a nice perspective.
I had one of the guys I used to train in person. He was sitting there post lift and he was eating his. My memory is right. He had 8 ounces of cod and 100 grams of rice. And he was bitching about being ravenous. He's like, I'm fucking starving, man. And I looked at him and I was like, Jason, you have $15 worth of cod in your Tupperware. It is wild caught. It is from Fresh Market. And you're complaining because you get to eat that 5 more times today. Not that exact cod meal, but you get.
Yeah,
And he just looked at me. I said, go tell that homeless person, because listen, the gym we used to train at was in the ghetto. I was like,
yeah,
go tell that homeless person that's sitting over there picking up fucking cigarette butts to smoke the filter that you're hungry right now. And he was like, I got your point. I'm like, no, I need you to think that, like, soak that shit in. That dude is sitting there, probably hasn't eaten in 3 days. If so, it was out of a damn dumpster. Like,
yeah. And if it's any kind of food, it's probably like chips or some shit.
right. Yes. Right. I was like, you are literally eating $29 a pound cod. I need you to shut the fuck
Yeah,
up. Like, again, I've been fortunate enough. I've never lived in poverty, but sometimes you have to take your mind there and be like, listen, I'm not truly hungry. Like, my fat is melting away, my muscle is not. And if
yeah,
the muscle is melting away, it's because you're training like an idiot.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
So that's another conversation. But yeah, I need everyone to just kind of realize right now, if you're in a contest prep, if you're in a cutting phase, a weight loss phase, whatever, there are going to be periods of time where you're just hungry. And if you're to the point where you have visible abs and you have veins running through your arms and legs and your midsection and chest constantly throughout the day, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be hungry all day for the most part. And you're just going to come to terms with it. And if, as you've said many times, like, if you don't want this life, don't do it.
Yeah, yeah. There's literally no one's telling you to do this.
You can go eat whatever the fuck you want, but do not complain that you're going to watch your abs disappear. Like, because we all know the consequences. Everyone has a choice. So, yeah, don't add shit to your food, man. Like, just follow the meal plan. I promise. It'll get you to the end, and you'll look wild and nasty, and it'll be a good process. I promise. Like, and you'll learn a lot about yourself. And I
Yeah.
truly believe this. I don't know how you feel, but I feel like each passing time that I do a contest prep, it becomes way more manageable.
Oh yeah.
Like,
It's that's the night and day. And I mean, it's honestly too like I've always like the first contest prep you do, like it's like that's a whole new experience. Like you've never no not many people have ever they don't get that lean,
no.
you know, or that hungry or that they don't push themselves that like to that degree most times just without like something. But then like the more you do it, the more you're like, all right, cool. It is what it is,
Yeah. Yep.
and like you've been there before, so you know what to expect. And like maybe you go a little bit further than last time. Maybe you take things a little bit further. But at the end of the day, like I think it's kind of interesting too. I mean, like the more muscle you put on, the easier, the prep is. I mean, like because I mean the first prep I did, I remember we weighed in at 138 for my fucking show. The amount of fucking food I got, I don't even remember what like my low days were at some point. They probably were like nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as you progress, you get better. As with anything,
Yep. 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 What's I always find really intriguing about all of that is what you said there about each time it gets easier. And I always feel like it gets easier because one, you have more muscle. And if you're progressive with your off season, you build your food up. So when you pull down, you don't have to pull down as far because you had never been that high before. So
yeah,
if you go 8,000 to 3,000, well, that's way better than going 5,000 to 1,500.
yeah, that's super true. Well,
So yeah.
oh my god, I actually have a kid doing an August show here.
Huh?
And I mean, we got his food high in the off season, and like I think 6 weeks out, I mean, his food's not high as it was, but I mean, his rest days he's at 150 grams of carbs, and his training days he's at 420.
Oh, hell yeah. That's great.
And he's losing weight every week.
Yep. Yep.
And it's like I mean, I just gave him a refeed of 700 grams of carbs, and he woke up the next day like 0.7 pounds lighter. So like when I see that, I'm like, oh, cool. And this is Mark, told him I was like, this is because of the work you did before.
Yep.
It's not. This isn't just because your body's here. Like we've done this. We've prepped you before. Like your body's doing this now because of all those fucking meals you ate in the off season this year.
Correct. And you know what's great about that too is when you see that you know for a fact that they nailed that high day like to the T. Because I think sometimes people can get a little carried away with a high day and they're like, oh, well, this is a little bit more rice, or I'm gonna have an apple with this meal.
Yeah.
Or
No. Yeah. Or it's like 100 grams of apple, and they're like 100 grams of donut.
right.
Those are the same, right? No one needs to know anything.
Right, yes. Yeah, I'm gonna sub Oreos post lift because that'd be great blended up in my shake. Yeah, so that's really cool. So let's move on to our topic here. I posed a question to you in terms of leveling up your intensity of training, and I think that's a constant theme for us. Of these three factors being equipment selection, environment, or training partner, how would you rank those in order of importance? Or maybe a better word there is, which of those three would give you the most ability to level up the fastest?
So you said environment, training equipment, and training partner.
Yes, sir.
Um, that's actually kind of a fun one. Those ones are really close.
Right. Exactly.
I would put training partner, environment, equipment, but environment and training partner are like this far apart.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because like if you go like there is zero way me and Brad are going to Planet Fitness and like I know I could have a great workout there
Right.
until I get banned.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a matter
Like,
of time.
yeah, cool. I know the dumbbells only go to 100. I know there's no squat racks, there's no free bars.
Right.
There's I could figure something the fuck out and have a great fucking lift and I could progress.
Right. Yes.
But the people there are going to kick me out really fucking fast. And that's just a fact. So like that's why the environment, those are so close together
Right.
because you have to have a gym. What I mean, Dorian Yates talked about this. Just I saw him on a podcast. He's like, there's so many fitness facilities and not any gyms anymore.
Right. Yeah.
You know, because they want these sterile environments of. Like it blows my mind what they exist. Like people pay for it, but they want a place to have a place to go to not work hard.
Yes.
You
Right.
know, like that one blows my mind, and they cater towards that. They're like, oh man, these people are grunting. These people are, dropping dumbbells, and it's like, well, also, I mean, like the comical part of that is like the dumbbells are made out of urethane. The floor is made out of padded rubber. Like it's not gonna break, and it's not like you're Johnny Jackson and just throwing it off a shoulder press. You're bringing it down or whatever. There's definitely that gray area there of training intensity versus just being an asshole.
Yeah. Agreed. Yes.
But in the grand scheme of things, like your training partner is so much more important than your gym equipment. Like if all I had was a me, you, a hotel gym with dumbbells and went to 45, I know for a fact we could leave there with a shoulder day, a good arm day, maybe a good back day. Like we just have to be creative.
Right. Yeah.
And if we were stuck there on an island for a year, we could find a way to make progress.
Our arms might be
So
24 inches.
yeah, and like that's one thing like I know for a fact is the truth because like I mean, environment plays a huge role, but like I remember when I first started training with Brad, like he hit me up on Instagram. I didn't know who he was, and I was like, yeah, I'll come do a leg day with him. And then like we first met, like we met up at the gym I was working at the time, and like our goal with each other was just to fucking murder each other.
Right.
And we had a great fucking time. We're like, oh, let's do this again, you know. And we found a middle gym. Like we drove, both of us drove like 20 minutes out of our way to go train at this random corporate gym in Riverdale. And like Brad brought his safety squat bar to the fucking gym. Like we walked in the front door with a fucking safety squat bar, and we'd train legs, and we'd fucking be, you know, I can't tell you how many times I threw up on the way home.
Right.
And it was just a regular ass gym, but I had an awesome training partner and we had decent equipment,
Right.
but like the training partner is what made that variable exist,
Agreed. Yeah.
and those are all going to play a role. Like you go to a gym like Butler Pro Gym here in Utah, 90% of that gym is an active competitor.
Right. Yeah.
So like if your goal is to compete, like the people in there are going to have knowledge on how to help you there.
Yes. Yep.
You don't need to go in blind, and that's where that environment can be super helpful. If you're the product of the people you spend time with. So like if you're the only bodybuilder in the entire area, like you might be the best person in the area, but you're the only one there.
Right. Yeah. Yep. And what's huge about that is even if you don't speak a word to anyone, that environment is intoxicating, right? Like you feed off of that energy. And it's like, oh, they're like me. Because there's a big difference. I'll give you a great example. The YMCA in Salem that I train at occasionally, I'd love to take you there because the equipment's incredible. I also love to get you in that bathroom where I take photos because the lighting is impeccable. We would last maybe one exercise before they're going to come over and be like, yeah, you two need to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, it'd be more like this. You two are scaring members. We're going to ask you to leave.
Yeah.
Um, and again, it's got nice equipment, but the problem is no one in there really goes after it.
Yeah.
So when you compare that to the other facilities that I go to, so if you go to Elite, which you've been to with me, you have the owner who is a super heavyweight bodybuilder and he gets it. And he's like, he welcomes when you come in town. He's like, oh God, you and Dave are gonna be in? Fuck yeah. Like he wants people to use his equipment aggressively and grow off of it.
Yeah.
And that's such a difference when you go into that. And yes, I think people might walk in there and be like, oh, it's a little dirty. Oh, the equipment's old. It's not super clean. And I'm like, yeah, but do you see all those pictures of pro bodybuilders on the wall? Yeah, he
Yeah.
welcomes us.
Yeah.
You see that deadlift platform? Yeah, it's beat to shit because people use it.
Yeah. Yeah. Versus walking in the gym where, like everything's spotless. And then the gym guy, the guy who works there's like, hey, don't make noise.
Right.
You know, don't, you're going to break my equipment. It's like, who's he actually care about?
Yeah. Yes.
He just cares about his paycheck. He doesn't care about the sport of bodybuilding. And like there's room for both in that fucking equation.
Agreed. Right.
It's wild because like nowadays you got plenty of gyms who they just want to open up and make money.
Mhm. Yes.
They don't want bodybuilders in there. They don't want people working out hard.
Right.
They just want people to come get a membership, come in, use the cardio machines, and leave.
Right. Or not even come in. They just want your credit card on file and they want to bill you every first of the month. And I know that because I've sat in those corporate meetings. They're like, we want people to come in, sign up for a family membership, and not come once.
Yeah,
Like, I'll give you some hard numbers, guys, because I know them. When I was at Gold's, it was a giant 45,000 square feet facility. At one time, we had over 10,000 members. There were 37% of our members who had never scanned their card once. 37%, not 37 people, 37% had never even been in the building outside of signing up.
that's
They
insane.
they considered that a win. Like they're like, we'd like to get that to 40. And I'm like, fuck. Like, you want to steal from people. Okay, got it. I see the business. Again, people want to know one of the reasons why I left there. That's a prime reason. I'm like, don't you want people to use this gorgeous facility? You have all this great equipment. And they're like, no, we actually don't. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
And that's a prime example, right? Like, so I trained as a worker there and as a competitive bodybuilder for 8 years. In this area, it is the most well-stocked gym, head to toe. Like, and I know that because I picked most of the equipment. Like, we would go in there and have an incredible session. But the problem is, it's full of trash in terms of members and in terms of not working out hard. And they don't really want you to use that equipment how it, in my mind, is intended, right?
yeah,
Like, it just that shit is meant to be used, and I've always felt that way. Now, for those 8 years, I had four training partners over the course of my time there in those 8 years, and we would make the best out of that facility. And occasionally, the general manager would come back there and be like, "Hey, Chris, like maybe not scream the F word at the top of your lungs and throw the bar down." And I'm like, "Okay, I can do that."
yeah,
Um, so, and he's like, oh, if the owners are in, definitely don't do that. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, so that's an example. And I grew a lot there with those four guys that I trained with. And it's because of what you said. It's like we would push this shit out of each other. So the equipment was great. The training partner was great. And the what I would call the environment is suboptimal. So I progressed really well there in those scenarios. A lot of times I would go to Elite just to train legs to escape the chaos of that place. Because I'm sure, as you know, as someone who has worked at a gym, like someone's like, "Oh, hey Chris, like that cable's broke." I am literally training back.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that one's super fair.
I'm sorry. I'll be done in 20 minutes. I'll go tell the maintenance crew.
Yeah,
And then you feel bad about yourself, or you have someone come up like, "Hey Chris, like how much it cost to train with you?" And I'm like, "Oh, fuck me. Like I'm so glad you want to pay me to train you, but can I just get through chest today?"
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, there's always something, like especially like when a good amount of people there, you got clients there, they're like, "Can you check my form real quick?" Like, let's knock it out real quick, but like, fuck.
because I mean, you know how it is, right? That doesn't on paper, that doesn't sound bad, but it flips your mind from in the session training your face off to I'm back in what I would consider work mode. Like
Yeah,
I'm no longer I'm not the same person. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Oh, not
Um,
even close.
no.
I think most people who've ever trained with me know like I am not the same person. Like when I lay down with the dumbbells or something, there's a different person happening.
Yes. And then the funny thing about both you and I with that is like we are more than willing to help anyone. But just give me my like 60 to 90 minutes to be in my world. And then listen, I'll help you do whatever you need. I am more than happy to assess your squat or your deadlift or see how why you're not making your chest work on a hammer strength machine. Like, please, like, let's go sign up for training right this minute. Like, but can you just give me this time? Or like, if I'm eating a meal,
Yeah,
I need 3 minutes, man. Like, give me 3 minutes so I don't have to chew with my mouth full and try to talk to you.
yeah,
So, yeah, I've been to some gyms that are extremely well stocked in terms. I just told you about that YMCA. That gym has incredible equipment, but it's butchered by the environment. Um,
yeah, yeah. That's all. There's a couple gyms in Utah like that, and it's just like, man, if you flip this around, like this would be so cool.
right. I think you said here on the podcast once about that gym you trained out where the guy was like so proud of his equipment he didn't want anybody to actually use it, and it's like, I guess my thought is if you have why do you have the equipment if it's supposed to be worn out?
Yeah. Well, it's like wild too. I mean, like the I've never seen a hammer press like break.
No, fuck no.
Like I've seen them. They have those out fucking side in California. They're still like they've been there for 20 years and they're fine and dandy.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So I'm trying to think of another gym. Like, so you and I trained at American Barbell, which I think is extremely well stocked.
Yeah,
And that was almost like the new one. I actually preferred the barn when he was in the barn. It was like a much more rough feel. It's so nice inside that new one. I'm always like, oh God, like, does he really want us to come in here and crank hard? And I know he does, but it's like
yeah,
sometimes when you walk into those places that are so perfect, you feel a little bit off when you lift like you and I like to.
yeah. Super true.
And
It's
especially there's not a
I'm
bunch of
lucky because
people.
we have the gym Origin over here,
Yeah.
and the owner Ryan. I mean, like all of his stuff is super nice. Watson, like it's brand new.
Yeah.
Like it's not even 2 years old right now. And but he's all he's like fucking send it. Like I mean, we broke a leg extension machine and he ended up re-welding it. And then Watson sent him a new one because it broke. And he's like, "Can you guys do it again?"
You
Like,
know,
we'll try.
what's crazy, right, is I've never been there, but I've seen so many of your videos, and it looks like an incredible space, right? And what's really cool is you have all that badass equipment in there, and you have someone saying, please God, put it to the test. Like,
Yeah,
I don't want you to be stupid, but like, see if it's gonna fucking hold up. Because at the end of the day, like, as I've said before, equipment is meant to be trained on. Like,
yeah,
I, let's say dumbbells, for example. I don't think if I'm doing an incline press, I'm not going to throw those fuckers from here, but I'll drop them from here. And to me, that's a big difference. And that's just
yeah,
in my mind, knowing like proper etiquette. Like if I'm doing shoulder press, I'm going to drop them down and catch them on my quads and then throw them down. I'm not going to do
yeah,
this. Boom. And trust me, I've seen countless guys do that stupid shit. Like
yeah,
I watched a guy literally break the head off of a 100-pound GP dumbbell by dropping it from full extension. Like it's not meant to do that. But
no,
I'm not a I'm
yeah.
not opposed to throwing them down.
On an incline where you bring it to your, to your chest to the floor, that is, 20 inches off the ground.
Right. Yes.
It's fine. And
And
it's landing on rubber.
and by the way, you don't do this to where they do the old flip. Like
Yeah, yeah,
you push,
exactly.
correct. You push them down, they land flat, and we're moving on. Because oh, guess what? I've something else I've also seen is guys being assholes on incline, and they do this, and it hits some poor girl in the ankle walking in front of the dumbbell rack, and then guess what? She's fucked up because you're an asshole, and then you feel
Yeah.
bad about yourself. Like,
Oh my goodness. So it's like actually friends with her, but like it was really funny because it wasn't me being an asshole. It was me almost dying
okay,
because I
yep.
kicked back up the 180s and I kicked up one round. So I dropped one and then I swung to the other side because it was still in my hand. And like it was me what almost hit her, not the dumbbell. It was like my actual body. And I was like, "Oh, sorry, Kelsey, my bad." And she was like, that was fucking hilarious. And I was like, yeah, that was.
That's how you know you've lifted weights long enough, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's one of the first times I'd ever picked up 130s on incline, and I kicked this one up poor, and it got
yeah,
away from my body, and I just had to like dump it, and it completely crushed a bench. Thank God no one was on it. If someone was on that bench, they would have gotten fucked up beside
yeah,
me. But I was like, either I throw this or I blow my shoulder off, and I'm going to choose
yeah,
to throw the dumbbell.
yeah.
Um, yeah, you know, I'm trying to think of. I know I've heard a lot of feedback. I haven't ever used any of the Panado equipment, but they said the new Panada actually feels great, but it's not durable at all.
Oh yeah, well, it's like some of the new equipment, like they kind of try to cut corners.
Right. Yep.
Like the anything, like the entire flex line from the '90s, they welded the entire shit like crazy,
Right.
you know. And that's how they should be making gym equipment. But I mean, they got like go take a gander at like the Booty Builder line, and those things are spot welded together. Like they have a weld every 6 inches, which is probably fine for. But like at the same time, it's like, why do you guys not just fucking full send it?
Correct.
Like
Yep.
it's like an extra like what $10?
Yes. Right. You know, you mentioned hammer strength, and listen, I came from a gym where we were a third hammer strength of the facility. And the difference in that, as opposed to we had free motion, we had matrix, and then we had a little bit of pre-core, is so different. Like if you look at the bolts on a hammer strength, they're enormous. Like I need you to pay close attention to that. All the pieces on it are extremely well thought out. The welds, great. The only thing on a hammer strength piece, there's two things. Well, I say only two things are going to fail on you. If someone wears jeans on the seat and they rip a hole in the upholstery, which you can still train on, by the way, and is usually a day turnaround, or if the handles start coming off and you don't have somebody that knows how to put them back on. And
Yep.
in that case, rip them the fuck off, order a new set, and then you got to put them back on with glue. Um,
Mhm. Yeah,
keep,
the over engineering of gym equipment is like that's rampant.
yeah, yes,
Like I've always talked about that. It's just like the like I mean, go take a gander at like a hammer strength leg press.
right, yeah,
There's two safety stops, one on each side. It's a 1 inch steel bar.
yeah, right,
Like, by the way, your truck, your towing, your hitch on your truck uses a 3/4 inch steel for the fucking ball on your hitch. Three
right,
quarters versus an inch. So there's an extra quarter of an inch.
right, yeah,
We all seen how much trucks can tow.
yes, yeah,
Are you going to put that much on a leg press?
no,
And then are you going to times it by two?
right.
Like, it's not going anywhere.
What's I've been getting an ad for it, and I want to send it to Dwayne so bad. Have you seen the new hammer strength pendulum squat?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, it's a monster. Like,
Yeah.
because listen, I think you and I've used enough pendulum squats. Like, you get on it, and some of them are like shaky right to left. Like, it doesn't feel sturdy at all. You're like, oh
Yeah.
fuck, is this going to go sideways on me? That thing, I've never used it, but it looks like it will break you. I'm like, I have to find a gym that has this somewhere. I think I looked the price up. It was like 75 or 8,500 bucks. So it's not
Yeah.
terrible. Um, but I was like, oh God, I want to use that so bad.
Yeah. I hear you there.
Because I know people a lot of times will say, oh, well, Hammer Strength hadn't come out with any new equipment in a long time. And I guess my instant response is always, do they need to?
Yeah.
Is there something they don't have? Which they just came out with the pendulum. They just had that booty blaster or glute bridge, whatever you want to call it. Which to me, that's my favorite glute bridge that
Yeah.
I've
They
ever
did a good
used.
job with it.
Yeah. I heard some bad feedback on it initially, and then like I said, that YMCA got one, and man, after the first what I would consider like feeder set, I was like, this is fucking incredible. Like this is
Yeah.
great. Um, the only bad thing about that gym is the plates are like that. They're metal but rubber coated, so they're
Oh, yeah. So they're thick
really
as hell.
you can only put five of them on there. Um, which I'm gonna put bands on it plus five today, so we're gonna test that bitch out. So, um, but when I'm thinking about equipment, right? Like I think if you look at somewhere maybe like an oxygen gym where it's like a playground of so much shit, I think that can almost cause equipment overload on your brain. Like if you and I went there and probably trained back, I'd be like, okay, we're gonna do 20 exercises today.
Yeah, pretty
But
much.
most people don't need that many because you're not that good at training a muscle in the first place. So instead of just like machine hopping, a lot of times, like if you work out at a gym that, let's say they have one or two good row machines, they have one or two good pull down machines, and you have dumbbells, barbells, and a cable system. I know that
Yeah,
sounds very like limiting, but if you got really good at those pieces of equipment, I bet you would grow a lot faster than if you had 30 different row machines to use.
yeah. Well, I mean, there's even like that one pump day from John Meadows, which like if you have a quad stack from on the cable system, so you have a seated row, you have a pull down, and you have just a open stack,
Yeah.
and it goes cable straight on pullovers or pull downs, rows, neutral grip pull downs, uh, and then it's basically just those four things.
Right. Yeah. It might be a rope face pull in there.
Yeah, in the face pull. Yeah, it's just like all you did was go from you just did a lap around that,
Mhm.
and you leave with a crazy bump.
Correct. Yes. And I think that's where people like miss the boat, right? Like a lot of times in my training programs, and you know this because I've written yours for years, but it's like I'll put on there your favorite row machine. Like, which one should I use, Chris? I'm like, which one do you feel the most? I don't know. Hold on, what do you mean? You don't have a row in your machine in your gym that you're like, that's the one. That's the one that crushes my lats. That's the one that crushes my upper back. And I think a lot of times people just like don't think about it that way. Where in my mind, I'm like, okay, if I go to Elite and I'm going to train back, and you said, Chris, I want you to pick a row machine that's chest supported that crushes your lats. I'm choosing the DY row. It's not, it's literally it's instant. I already know it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Like there shouldn't be a thought process or something like I'll put like use your favorite lat pull down attachment. Well, which one do you want me to use? I want you to use the one that you feel the most. Well, I don't know what one that is. Like
Yeah, I'm
you
almost always going to be using the shoulder width neutral grip.
and you might say to me, do you want it to be more lat or more upper back? And I'm like,
Yeah,
then we have some different variables in there. But for the most part, like I think a lot of times people would just don't think that analytically about things. Like their brain doesn't comprehend because they're so used to like just having someone say, I need you to do this machine, this machine, this machine. And I'm like, well, yeah, I could do that, but I'd prefer it if you chose the piece that you feel the best. Like
yeah,
I can't tell you where your foot position is on your leg press that you're the strongest at. Only should be able to tell me that.
yeah,
Now, if I want a quad bias leg press, I'm going to say, hey, probably slide our feet down that platform a touch. But then in terms of spacing of your feet, where do you feel the strongest? Where do you feel it in your quads the most? Like when do you begin to get a lot more adductor? Like I think all of those things when it comes term in time to like actually use the equipment, there's a big difference in that because I'll give a good example. The hammer strength pullover machine looks incredible. I'm not a fan of it.
I can't say it either.
It's just not good. And I've tried to make it good. I've put straps on it. I've put my elbows on it. I've grabbed it with my hands. I've not grabbed it with my hands. I've used an underhand grip. It just doesn't feel good. Give me a straight arm pull down or a dumbbell pullover. It's just the truth. Like,
Or the Nautilus, the that one, like, all right, cool, feels amazing. It's just a slightly different curve.
yes. Yep. Whoever designed that one from Hammer Strength either is built different than me or they don't know how to train their lats.
Yeah, yeah,
Because step one at minimum, I need a pedal to kick that arm forward. Like I
yeah.
don't have the shoulder mobility to get in that bitch. Like
Oh, yeah, yeah. No joke. You almost need like a training partner to pull it down for you.
yeah, right. All right, so I'm gonna almost blow my shoulders off, get it into place. Then I'm gonna try to like someone's gonna fasten a seatbelt around me to hold my hips down. And then it doesn't feel great in my lats. Like, okay, next, I'm not using that machine anymore.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
again, it looks great in a gym. God, it looks great sitting there. Like it looks gorgeous, and you can stack a bunch of plates on it, and it's solid. But it's like, again, it goes back to like something I've always said. The people that sometimes build those machines that are the engineer, like, do they actually lift weights? And did they have someone test them who was willing to give honest feedback?
yeah,
Because I mean, I think you and I have always all been on equipment where like you see it, you get on it, you're like, man, you want it to feel good so much that you're like, okay, maybe that feels okay. And then the more you use it, you're like, no, this is straight garbage. Like I
Yeah.
need uh so is there any I think a good example of like a machine that is underappreciated by most. Like we had a Cybex squat press at our gym. We had four, five different leg press. We had the hammer strength one that was plate loaded that was horizontal. We had a body master. We had the Cybex squat press. We had a free motion, and then we had a matrix. These two were garbage. No one hardly ever used that squat press. And I was like,
Yeah.
you guys don't like this? And they're like, there's no weight pegs on it. It's got a weird, it feels weird in the bottom. Like, why is that second platform there? And I'm like, have you guys actually used this? Because it feels incredible. And this is before like it blew up on the internet and everyone was saying how great it was.
Yeah.
Always I swore about it. I'm like, man, that thing feels fucking awesome. And then next thing you know, everyone started saying the squat press was great, and then that machine started getting used all the time.
Yeah.
So, is there any piece of equipment that jumped out at you that you the first time like you were on it, or that you either loved it or hated it?
The Watson's T-bar row
Okay, yeah,
is like the you know how the Arsenal T-bar row is like comically heavy,
yes,
but it gets a lot of up and down motion.
mhm, yep.
They fixed that. So it's still really heavy,
Oh yeah.
but it doesn't wobble as much this way.
Oh, okay, heck yeah.
So it's super smooth, but it's also still really heavy.
Oh, right, right.
And it's one of the few like T-bar rows what like when you're in it, it's really easy just to stay connected to that pad.
Oh, heck yeah.
Because like a lot of times, like I feel like the angle they change it enough where like where the foot platform is and the pad are, your body just wants to come off of it.
Yes,
Versus like when you unrack the Watson one, your body's like sucked into that pad.
right. Yeah,
And it's like it's actually harder to pull up than it is to stay on the pad,
yeah.
which for most T-bar rows is like the opposite of what happens.
Agreed. Yeah, yeah. Your first instinct, almost, is to like spinal erect out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that piece looks so cool. And like I like the Arsenal, but like you said, it's definitely heavy as hell. Um, have you ever used the Elite FTS T-bar row with the long
The one with the really long handle? Once. Yeah.
that every time we go to the beach, there's a gym there that has it, and I use it, and I'm lucky if I get four quarters on that. It's more like three.
Yeah. 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 They're just like, let's make gravity terrible with this. This is 6 feet longer than it needs to be.
I think I've been in that gym probably 100 times at this point in my life, and I'm the only person I've ever seen use it. Now,
Yeah.
in the
That makes
defense,
sense. And it definitely is one of those like,
yeah,
humbling. Well, it's always funny too, because I mean, like, there's usually like a leg press which is lighter than the other one.
oh right,
And
yes,
like people will always use the lighter one.
yeah, agreed. It's like an elite. No one gets on that true squat, or I mean, I'm not gonna say no one. A very few people use the true squat.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Choose me, I know. It's hard as
Yeah.
there is no cheating it. It feels awkward the first time you use it. Like, yeah, I mean, it's the same reason. Like, so there's another gym that I go to occasionally where they have a pit shark in there, and man, every time I'm in there, people are using the hell out of that. Now, when I go to
Yeah.
Elite, that belt squat very rarely gets used because it's rogue and it's the heavy one. So,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
The pitch arc, what doesn't make sense because that because it's a pivot arm, it's like a lever.
right.
Like I have put 9 plates aside on that pitch shark.
Oh yeah, it feels light.
And it somehow feels like three. And then like 3 plates or 4 plates on the rogue is like, what the crap?
When you think you're gonna get your hip ripped off?
Yeah.
I was with Alex one day and we decided to go to 5 plates on the road, and I was terrified when I unracked it. I was
Yeah.
like, Jesus Christ. Like it was a God, that's just a hard piece of equipment. And if you've ever been able to use some heel wedges with it, like that is one of my all-time favorite quad exercises. So
Yeah.
it makes it even harder. So Yeah, and I love using bands on that Rogue one too. That God, it just feels fucking
Yeah,
good.
the bands on that is awesome.
Mhm. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. And I even do it like so I'll sink it down and then I'll come to the top and like catch that weight on my quad for a split second, not lock my knees out, but you just pause in like that like three-fourths position and let all that weight just settle on your quads and then right, oh man, it's so good. Where normally I'm not a proponent of stopping at the top of any type of leg movement, that I like to catch that weight and feel it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you've used the leg press that Dwayne has at Elite that I carry, and that thing's heavy as hell.
yeah,
You talk about humbling. It's a steep angle. It's not light.
yeah,
Where I'm trying to think of all the other, like if you use that hammer strength leg press, you can put a ton of plates on there. The Nebula leg press I used for years, you could put 15 plates on that bitch aside.
yeah.
Um, the squat press you can load down, obviously. That's what you use at Brad's, right? Is the squat press, right?
Hmm.
That's a hell of a piece for a home gym.
Oh, I know.
Does he have it bolted down or is it on rubber?
It's just on rubber.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Yeah, we never bolted it down at Gold's either.
Yeah. Yeah, you just gotta be careful taking the plates off.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. They make extender arms that you can get five more plates on.
Oh, really?
That I've seen online. Yeah. Well, I was trying to convince Gold right before I left to buy them because they weren't expensive. It was like $300 maybe for the set.
Yeah.
And I was like, this was right before I was getting ready to leave, and I was like, if you guys don't buy them, I'm going to. And
Yeah.
then I decided to leave. So I didn't need to invest in them. But I think to kind of put a bow on all of this is like a training partner can truly elevate everything. And if you don't have a training partner, you can't find one who is good and pushes you and elevates you. I think that's a whole other conversation because it's like if you and I came to the gym and one of us was having a bad day, if we transferred that energy to each other, that's not a good training partner.
Hmm.
It should be the other way. If I'm having a shitty day and you're having a great one, I should feed off of your positive energy. And then next thing you know, I'm training and it's a great day. Like, it
Hmm.
doesn't matter that Angela and I got into a fight or I have to coach baseball for 7.5 hours or, fill in the blank. Or I had a client bomb at a show. Like, all that shouldn't matter because a good training partner does not bring their garbage into a training session because that's not the purpose. And I think you've said it before, like you and I don't talk about life in a training session.
No, as soon as we get in there, we're just what's happening, what's next, what are we doing?
Correct. The time for all that is after, in my mind.
Hmm.
Like sit at the gym, shoot the shit, go to Starbucks, go back to the house, eat a meal. Like, and I think that's where a lot of people go wrong is they get in there with the training partner and they just bullshit the whole time. And it's like,
Yeah,
you're missing the point here.
super true.
Because if I have a training partner who talks the whole damn time, I'm like, we can't train anymore, and I'm going to come ask you for a spot when I need
Yeah, yeah, no joke.
it. So yeah, I mean, the hierarchy all day long. I agree with you. It goes training partner to environment, and then equipment is definitely at the last. I think the only time, and I will give this caveat before we end. The only time I think that the equipment may move up that list to two or maybe one is once you get really beat up injury wise and you need equipment to still train hard. So
Yeah,
if you're an older guy or you're going through an injury, you may need a gym that has a little bit better exercise selection in terms of being able to still train effectively without hurting yourself even more. So,
yeah,
like let's say for example, you're just recovering from you tore your erector or you had a herniated disc. Like if your gym only has dumbbells and barbells and you have to train legs, it's going to be a tough day um to formulate.
yeah, no joke.
Like you could do lunges, you could do split squats, but I wouldn't want you to load a bar on your back. I wouldn't want you to do RDLs. I'd probably want you to do glute bridge, but probably want to be light. So I mean, again, that could be a very different scenario where if you're in a gym, you could do a lying leg curl, seated leg curl, an adductor, a leg extension, a leg press, and then get the fuck out of there and have a great session, protect your back the whole time. And
Yeah,
still train hard. Um, so I think that's the only time in my mind that equipment would take precedence. Maybe if you have a really shitty body part and you have trouble connecting to it, then having maybe the prime pieces or an arsenal or some sort of panada may be beneficial. Um, but outside of that, man, like I would just say get good at the shits your gym has. Um,
Yeah. And
so
sometimes, I mean, like bringing up a body part might be doing less shit.
right.
Like
Yeah.
if your arms suck, it's like, you take someone's arm day and they're like, why are you doing 30 sets and, eight different gym pieces?
Yeah.
Learn how to do a curl and an extension really fucking well.
Yes. Yeah.
And then go from there.
A lot of times too with that, it's like, how much weight are you using? Like
Yeah.
there was a guy, he was at West Main and he was curling, I'm not exaggerating, he was curling the 85s. And his arms may have been the size of my forearms.
Yeah.
Looked over and I'm curling the 40s. So less than half. And he was
Yeah.
like, bro, is that a warm-up set for you? I was like, no, that's a work.
Yeah.
He's like, you just must have really good arm genetics. I'm like, nope.
Yeah. You're actually using, I'm not using my front delt to curl that.
I said, drop down to the 40s and squeeze your biceps and do 15. And he looked at me, he's like, that's the first time I felt my biceps. I'm like, yeah. I was like, now just repeat that 10 more times, and that's your bicep workout.
Yeah.
And he was like, thanks a lot. I was like, yeah, man, those 85s, I was like, the amount of people who can really could or should be curling those is like this.
Yeah.
So, any other things you have on this topic?
No, not really.
Cool. Until next time, Chris, Dave, we are done.
Nice.